for his third adventure.
예, 간만에 돌아왔네요. 던전스2 이후에 정말 간만에 돌아왔습니다. 원래 이번엔 거를까 했는데 평가가 생각보다 되게 좋았어요. 던전스2에 비해서. 이번에도 과연 속는 건지는 일단 해봐야 할 것 같긴 한데, 튜토리얼부터 해볼까요? 근데 뭐 할 필요 있나? 튜토리얼?
Dungeon Basics. The newcomer evil should learn the basics of dungeon management.
해보죠. 저번에도 튜토리얼 했던 것 같아. 이번에 좀 뭔가 좀 몇 가지가 바뀌었더라고요. 제가 스트리밍은 미리 봤었거든요.
The still learning the ropes evil had decided to try the excellent tutorials. Good choice. In this childishly simple introductory mission, it would learn the basics of dungeon management. Things like digging, building rooms, and hiring and firing creatures. Everything a novice evil needs to know. First of all, it admired the center of its power, the dungeon heart. This, if possible, should
예전보다
never
좀
be
더
broken,
직관적으로
as that
변한 것
would lead
같은데.
to an inglorious and permanent end to the definitely wanting to avoid this at all costs evil. Naturally, the most important resource for any evil genius was gold. One could make the best things out of the glittering metal, and nary a creature was going to let the absolute evil hire it and push it around without a coin or two. Sad, I know, but that's the way the cold, hard, capitalist world of evil works. Although a little gold could also be stored in the dungeon heart, the little snots, the strange name giving evil's workers, had to travel long distances to do so. It made much more sense to build a treasury nearby. The fast-learning evil immediately began doing so.
조작은 기본적으로 똑같은 것 같네요. ASD, WASD로 움직이고, 일단 시킨 것만 하죠. 더 할 수는 있는데. 싸대기 때리면 빨리 하는 건 되나 아직? 되네요. 니들 일 안 하냐? 귀찮은데 파두죠. 아마 저희 나중에 파라고 시킬 거예요. 단축키 R. 옛날보다 이게 나은 것 같기도 하고. 이제 이것도 만들어야 되네. 옛날엔 금고는 그냥 지정하면 됐는데.
Sometimes the bored evil's little snots didn't work quickly enough. That was the time to give them a hearty slap with the hand of terror. Naturally, this had to be done immediately.
안 돼.
The calculating evil threw a cagey glance at its population limits. These were divided into little snots and creatures. As opposed to creatures, little snots did not have to be hired separately, but were always regenerated up to the maximum limit.
이렇게
And so
트리가
it was
있구만.
that the massacring evil didn't have to worry if one of these miserable creatures died. It simply had to wait for the next one. At the same time, the little snots were the
이젠 생산 안 해도 되네요. 옛날에 이거 생산하러 인구수가 적막혔는데.
care of any number of other things. That's why it was never a bad idea to increase their maximum limit. The thirsty for more little snots evil hurriedly began work. The corresponding research was kindly unlocked for the absolute evil. This was necessary in the tutorial in order not to confuse
망할
it with
놈들이
a wide range of possibilities.
던전스 2에서 졸라 쓰레기같이 만들어가지고 그랬던 거지.
Really do everything wrong. Unfortunately, creatures were a little more demanding than the miserable little snots. A hideout would have to be researched before creatures such as goblins and orcs could be hired. As loyal as the little snots were, they were unable to fight and took to their heels in panicked flight at the first sight of an enemy. Sighing, the unscrupulous evil
검이 나오는 공간 같은데? 네, 곧 검이 나오겠네요. 이렇게 된 거 보니까. 써 이래라. 은신처, 수면 욕구랑 피해. 방 사이즈가 예전보다 좀 적어도 괜찮은 것 같기도 하고. $300, 250원. 아무거나 3개 하면 되네요.
The army craving evil had hired a creature which would from now on do its dirty work. However, each creature consumed a population point. Fortunately, these could be increased just like the number of workers. Should it become necessary to recover a population point, the maliciously grinning evil could always use the egress.
아하, 이렇게 하나씩 생기는구나.
Simply toss the creature onto it, a little pull of the lever, and oh, whoops. Well, there it goes. These creatures were pretty spoiled. Not only did horde creatures demand their own bunks, they also wanted something to eat. Otherwise, they would soon refuse to do any work whatsoever and go on strike. The deeply sighing evil had no other choice than to build his creatures a gobbler farm to satisfy their hunger.
오, 이게 참 보기가 쉽네요. 저렇게 하니까. 수면 90, 90, 90, 13, 11. 이 부분에 뜨는 게 옛날보다 훨씬 직관적이라서 좋은 것 같네요. 일단 확실히 전작보단 좋아요. 아직까지 플레이 느낌. 전작이 너무 이상한 인터페이스가 많아가지고. 약간 던전 키퍼 쪽에 좀 더 가까워진 느낌인데? 25, 15. 오케이. 15마리.
Excellent work. The gobbler farm was now ready. Later, the creatures would also demand other things, but for now, they were satisfied. The
먹네.
fast-learning evil had mastered the first tutorial with flying colors. Excellent work. Evil evilness. The fast-learning evil quickly set about sending its creatures into the overworld.
뭐 팁 바뀌는 것도 아니고 왜 이게 화살표가 나오지?
Had begun the second tutorial. It now more or less knew what it had to do.
아, 전투 시스템 전작이랑 똑같으면 진짜 그지
Now it
같은데.
would turn to the overworld, where it would sow chaos and destruction. Up there waited a Isle of Good, which just begged to be destroyed. The impatient evil got right down to destroying. Before the overworld could be destroyed, a number of creatures would first have to be brought there. The hand of terror greedily reached out to grab some.
5.
First, creatures ventured out into the overworld. The destruction-craving evil could hardly wait to transform all those unbearably rich colors into 50 shades of gray. The drooling evil did not have the omnipotence in the overworld it was used to in the dungeon. Here, it had to direct its creatures the old-fashioned way with orders.
스킬을 직접 쓰는 건 아직 없네요. 이게 옛날에 하도 문제여가지고. 그냥 때려잡으면 되는 건가? 뒤로 빼고 체력바가 왜 이렇게 안 보이는 애들이 많지?
Ah, the Isle of Good had been destroyed. To the
박이
ground.
이렇게 올라가네요.
This not only made for a more pleasant ambiance, but also
이게
produced some
생산이
lovely
아예 이제 생산된
which
시스템으로
could
바뀌었네.
be used for research. The researching evil quickly set about spending its evilness.
아무거나 하면 되네요.
The sinuous evil had researched the Nagas. These snake-like creatures were excellent healers and a good addition to the dungeon. The fantastic evil had understood the basics of the overworld and the
끝났어?
advantages of evilness in the blink of an eye. Not that those were difficult concepts, but hey, you take what you can get, so good work.
말이 좀 많은데 좀 끊으면서 할게요. 이 친구들 말 다 듣다간 시간이 없겠네. 뭐 중요한 거면 들어야 되겠는데 말 농담하는 거.
Thirsty evil obviously couldn't get enough of these crazy tutorials. All right then, let's improve our knowledge of the dungeon.
이게 전작 패치 중에 그게 있었어요.
Absolute evil's creatures gathered experience from battles over the course of time, and thus reached new levels.
그러니까 플레이어를 비하하거나 뭐 귀찮게 하는 나레이션이 계속 나왔거든요. 예전에 그게 나중에 패치로 막혔어요. 약간 좀 다르게 좀 제가 좀 오버해서 설명한 게 있긴 한데
Unbelievable! But that borders on treason. Horde creatures, for example, would later demand beer that they themselves produced in the brewery. But the brewery was still a long way off, as the annoyed evil's little snots had once again proved their lack of intelligence and hadn't built any workplaces in the dungeon. Toolboxes would later be needed for the brewery. These were produced by little snots at workplaces in the workshop. Sighing, the once again disappointed by its workers' evil, set about building the workplace.
작업실에서 이게 훨씬 낫네. 50분? 왜 이렇게 좁냐 근데 방이? 이거 뭐 하는 건물이냐? 아, 공간 만드는 거네요? 아무튼 나레이션이 던전2에서 너무 쓸데없이 많고 사람 짜증나게 하는 게 많아가지고 그걸 줄였어요. 패치로. 알아 생산하자 이건?
A cast iron brewing kettle made out of toolboxes. Computer game logic. The not particularly known for its patience evil patiently waited for enough toolboxes to be available.
굳이 안 파도 됐긴 했겠다. 강연이실, 칠면조 농장, 방 늘리는 거죠 이건? 조작도 훨씬 나은 것 같은데 느낌은. 이 손이 약간 좀 살짝 늦게 따라오는 게 좀 기분이 이상하네요. 원래 바로바로 따라가는데. 이게 통계도 훨씬 예전보다 나은 것 같은데?
The splendid evil had finally produced enough toolboxes by waiting in boredom. It quickly set about building the brewing kettle.
잔챙이 오크 나가. 잔챙이 이제 설명이 좀 잘 붙어있으니까 편하네. 근데 이게 바로바로 안 만들어지는 게 좀 빌드 타임이 있어서 좀 그거는 좀 조심해야겠네요. 근데 나머지는 훨씬 다 편한 것 같아요. 아직 생산 안 했고.
The brewing kettle stood proudly, and the diligent little snots went directly to work producing the delicious brew, so that the horde creatures could soon start knocking it back. All that was missing was someone playing some good old-fashioned folk music. Then again, maybe not. Almost makes my ears bleed. But now for something completely different, as the hard-working evil now had access to the lecture hall. There, additions to normal research in the form of scrolls could be made for small amounts of gold, time, and evilness. The always slathering for something new evil quickly began to try them out.
이런 거구나.
Payday.
찍어놨으니 이제 알아서 하겠죠 뭐. 내가 인프를 뽑아놨었나? 저거 인프가 아니고 그냥 딴 유닛 같죠?
Ah, a good choice.
보자. 이거 효율 올리려면 어떻게 해야 되지? 이건 따로 안에 그냥 유닛이 있는 거네요. 뭘 새로 해야 되는 게 아니라.
Ah, a good choice.
졸리다. 젤다도 해야 되는데. 지금 설마 금고가 만땅이라서 일을 안 하는 건가? 맞네요.
Splendid work! The good-humored evil had not only satisfied its alcoholic creatures, but at the same time learned more about research. It now considered itself well equipped to begin converting the lessons learned into evil nasty.
청소도 하네?
The final exam.
호드 언데드 악마. 원래 이게 다 다른
Now
종족이었는데.
it's time for a good book. I still have this comic, and if I were to make myself a drink, I could... Oh, wait. You're here? What? I thought we'd done all the tutorials. What do you mean the menu offers a fourth tutorial? But I don't have any more documents for that. I'd love to work with professionals just once. Those boneheads at Realmforge can't even get the main menu right. They're probably busy building the Berlin airport. Well, since you're already here, we can... Oh, crap. Third person. Well, since the already arrived evil was already there, I can probably forget that drink. The keeping the narrator from his hard-earned drink and his lovely Marvel comic book evil commenced yet another tutorial. In this one, it would, learn something about, traps and spells, like how to make and use them. It was a pretty free-form tutorial, as if someone had just made it up really quickly. It was about defending the dungeon against attacking heroes. A few traps had already been placed. These were ready to make life difficult for every hero that approached them. Some others were manually triggered by a blow from the hand of terror. Here,
이제 수동 작동이야.
the Arcanium already held a lot of mana ready to be used for powerful spells.
만화는 충분하고. 그냥 써보라는 건가? 우클릭이구나.
A suspicious trampling of heavy boots and clanging of armor was heard in the dungeon. Soon, the first heroes would enter the dungeon. There are enemies in your dungeon.
안에 병력 없어?
Enemies have entered the dungeon. Enemies have entered the dungeon.
이게 스펠은 좀 오히려 더 쓰기 헷갈려진 것 같은데 단축키가 좀 달랐으면 좋을 것 같은데. 뭐 아직도 안 끝났어?
There are enemies in your dungeon. Payday.
많아도 많은데 그냥 막 쓰죠. 응? 여기 왜 뽀개? 아, 잘못 눌렀나? 아니야.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
야, 안돼 선택이. 아이씨. 또 시작이네.
All right. Excellent work. The last hero had been fended off. The
뭔가 아까 그 채우기 누른 다음에 그 다음에 마법 누를 때 꼬인 것 같거든요. 조심해야겠네.
Well done. So now it's time you turn to other things. Things that don't stop me from drinking and from reading my comic.
크리처 하나가 죽었었네요.
The shadow of absolute evil. The shadow of absolute evil had crossed the sea.
예, 이제 주 캠페인 할 차례인데 이거는 좀 나중에 하겠습니다. 일단 오늘은 여기까지.